HOA is charging me $100 for flying the American flag on my porch. This is ridiculous, you won't believe this. My Homeowners Association actually sent me a letter ordering me to remove my American flag. Yeah, you heard that right. The same flag I served under, the same one I raised every morning with pride. They called my flagpole an unauthorized structure and started slapping me with fines, like I'd built a casino in my front yard. But what this power-tripping HOA president didn't realize was that they weren't just wrong. They were about to break federal law. They picked a fight with a veteran over the American flag, and they were about to lose that battle in spectacular fashion. Before all this drama, life here was peaceful. Quiet streets, perfect lawns, friendly waves. The kind of neighborhood where everyone minds their business and trims their hedges twice a week. For me, after years of service, it was supposed to be the dream. A peaceful place to live out the same American values I once defended. And my flagpole, that was part of it. Every morning I'd walk out, raise the flag, salute it, and let it catch the wind. Every night I'd lower it with care. It wasn't decoration, it was devotion. For over a year, not one person complained. Neighbors smiled, kids said it looked cool. Everything was fine until that plain white envelope showed up. The HOA logo sat in the corner like a threat. Disguised as stationery, I figured it was a newsletter. Maybe a parking reminder. Nope. It was a violation notice. Unauthorized modification to property translation. My flagpole had committed a crime against the neighborhood's aesthetic harmony. Can you believe that? Since when did patriotism clash with good landscaping? At first I stayed calm. I pulled out the HOA handbook, scrolled through every boring paragraph, and surprise, surprise, nothing about flagpoles, not a word. So I wrote a polite email, told them I was a veteran, explained what that flag meant to me, and asked them to reconsider. I figured logic would win. But logic doesn't work on people who think a clipboard makes them God. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you're watching from. And make sure to subscribe to Silent Divide Tales, because tomorrow's story is one you definitely don't want to miss. The response I got back wasn't what I expected. No apology, no understanding. Just 2 words: appeal denied. That's it, cold. Robotic, like they'd hit copy-paste on every soul they've ever crushed. That's when I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a challenge, and the HOA, oh, they were ready for war? The kind fought with fine print, not fists. 2 weeks later, another envelope showed up. This time no warning, just $100 fine for refusing to take down my unauthorized structure. $100 for patriotism. Unreal, right? And it didn't stop there. Every week, another letter, another fine, another smug reminder that they had authority. Soon they were threatening a lien on my property. The kind of move that could risk your home. It was intimidation, plain and simple. Their message was clear: comply or we crush you. But they underestimated one thing. I'd faced worse enemies than a suburban board of wannabe dictators. So I did what any disciplined man would do. I fought back the smart way. I started a folder: HOA dispute. Every notice, every fine, every time-stamped photo of my flag and pole went into that file. I built a paper trail so tight they couldn't breathe through it. But the pressure kept building. Thousands in fines, constant threats. Late nights, staring at letters that smelled like arrogance and cheap printer ink. I was tired but not done one night. Fueled by coffee and frustration, I dug through homeowner rights forums. Then, buried deep in a thread, I found it: the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act of 2005. A federal law, and it said word for word that no HOA could prohibit a homeowner from displaying the U.S. flag. You could feel the gear shift. This was it, my ace in the hole. They thought I was some clueless veteran who just roll over wrong. I just found their kryptonite. The next morning I went full legal mode. No more polite emails, I wrote a certified letter. Calm and precise. The kind of calm that scares people. I listed every violation, every fine, every date, then I quoted the law line by line. I even included the public law number, because I wanted them to know exactly which wall they just crashed into, to make sure they couldn't pretend ignorance. I printed a full copy of the act and stapled it to the letter, like a report card from Uncle Sam. Then I sent it: certified signature required. No denials, no. We didn't see it, and just like that, silence for 2 whole weeks. Not a single envelope, no emails, no feeness. You could practically hear the panic behind their office blinds. Because when you hit a petty tyrant with federal law, they don't argue, they retreat. Then finally, an envelope arrived, thin, plain nervous. Inside was one sentence after further review. The board has decided to waive all fines and close the case. No apology, just quiet surrender. But that silence that was the sound of victory. The next morning, raising that flag felt different. It wasn't just a daily routine anymore. It was a statement the war was over and the flag was still there. Neighbors noticed one man jogging by stopped and said, "You actually beat them." I smiled and said no. The law did. And then something incredible happened. A few days later, another house raised an American flag, then another, then another. Soon the whole street looked like a quiet parade, each flag swaying in defiance of small-time tyranny. The HOA's attempt to control one man had united an entire neighborhood. Because this was never just about a poll, it was about power. About ordinary people remembering they don't answer to bullies by laws but to rights protected by law. They count on fear, on you being too tired, too unsure, too quiet. But once you know your rights, once you stand tall, they crumble every single time. So yes, my flag stayed up. But more importantly, so did my spine. That's the thing about justice. It doesn't always come with sirens or headlines. Sometimes it's just silence, the kind that means you won. If you believe no HOA should ever have the power to silence a patriot, hit that like button, share this story, and drop your own HOA horror stories in the comments. And remember, this has been Silent Divide, tales where justice speaks louder than rules. Click subscribe because the next story, it hits even harder.